is a whole life out on the Eastern Plains that is a big part of the state.
This isn't the Colorado most people think of when they think of Colorado. No purple mountains here. The majesty lies in something else altogether.
I think that people are very proud to be small town USA.
Fort Morgan. It's one of those small towns where people like to raise a family.
Excellent place to raise kids.
And build a life. About 12,000 people live here. It's where Brenda Zion was raised.
So my grandfather and his family lived in that house when they were growing up.
And where she's lived for 37 years.
This will always be home. Nothing else will seem like home besides here.
Brenda knows that Fort Morgan is about 80 miles from Denver. But she's learning it might feel like a million miles away from home for some of the town's newest residents. Residents who aren't what people think of when they think of a small town. This wasn't just a new store or a new bank. These were new people. And they were from places that most people in small towns only see on the big screen.
I'm from Somalia.
Kadar is one of those new neighbors.
I have always been a small town guy, even back in Somalia. I love small towns.
He's a Somalian Muslim and has lived in Fort Morgan for more than 3 years.
I always heard about America and how nice it is, the land of opportunity for everybody.
A place unlike Somalia.
It was really bad.
Kadar lived much of his life in a refugee camp.
It's a place where time stops. There are no jobs. It's a place where there are no expectations to perform.
It's not somewhere he wanted to stay. This, he says, is home now. Fort Morgan became home to nearly 1,200 East African refugees in just the past few years. Many came here to work at the Cargill meatpacking plant. Amina works at Cargill.
I live 25 years. Somalia.
Her husband and family still live in Africa.
Somalia is my country, but they don't have a peace. That's why I loved Somalia.
Amina is learning English.
This book, workbook.
And she's looking ahead to becoming a U.S. citizen.
I like to speak English. more.
But she still thinks of her past.
People killing my brother, and they try to killing me. When I remember, I don't feel good. I'm not feeling good.
Amina says moving to the U.S. saved her life. But this new home isn't always the easiest to navigate.
It has something to do with us being Muslims. I think it has something to do with us being Africans, black folks. There's a lot of fear and prejudices engulfing in this community. That's why you don't find many positive ideas about African refugees moving to this community.
Kadar is a U.S. citizen now, and the local Somali community counts on his help with everything from job disputes to immigration paperwork. He says Fort Morgan sometimes feels divided.
For the sake of goodness and for the sake of people understanding each other, because they are our neighbors. The kids go to school together. I thought they would want to know more about us.
That's where Brenda Zion comes in.
So this email came in Spanish, so I just got to check that I've got this right.
Brenda works for One Morgan County, a nonprofit that aims to help immigrants settle into their new lives, to coexist in their community.
20 to 30 years ago would have meant, to coexist with the cliques at school or something like that. And now, we're talking about much bigger issues. Just to have your community change has been extremely difficult for people.
Difficult because the refugees look different and many have a different religion.
When you have a Muslim population and people, after 9/11 and the things that you see on TV, I think that it is a religion that many people are not sure what to think of. Not sure what the intentions are for the United States if you are a Muslim. Not sure what that should mean to them. Not sure if it's anti-American to have an Islamic, a Muslim friend.
Brenda's grandparents were immigrants to the area themselves.
The fears that people have around Islam and their new Muslim neighbors is just as real as what people had when the Germans from Russia came to the area.
She believes the community can learn to live together now, like they did years ago.
There's just little good that comes out of ostracizing or marginalizing population groups, and so much more that can come out of engaging them and having them being contributing neighbors. We can do this.
There are people who are not sure they can do this. Candace Loomis has lived in Fort Morgan her whole life.
Unless you count the 6 months I lived in Wyoming. Wamsetter, if God was going to give the world an enema, that's where he'd stick the hose.
She's known for speaking her mind.
I was going to say, if you want something free, call the government.
Her coffee shop is a place where others can speak their mind too. And she says plenty of people who come in comment on the changes.
The new folks in town, because we never had the black people in town that we do now. It's like a shock, especially since they all came at once.
She says the refugees are rude at local businesses and many don't know English.
My ancestors didn't come here with all the help. Every culture that came here had to earn their own respect and fight for their own freedom. It wasn't just handed to them on a silver platter the way we're doing for these people.
Her main complaint is their driving and rise in accidents since they arrived.
They've never seen paved roads. They don't know what the stripes in the middle of the road stand for.
The thing that pops up is the number of accidents.
The local police force admits it's the biggest complaint.
You're talking about a population of adults who have not been exposed to driving before.
It's just uncomfortable.
Candace says she tries to teach the new folks about how to live in Fort Morgan.
Speaking from my point of view, though,
And Kadar tries to teach people like Candace what it means to be a Somalian immigrant.
do they have Social Security numbers?
Sometimes I don't really know what makes people nervous about us, honestly. Sometimes I think, is it the religion? Is it the color? What makes people nervous about us?
The community is changing. Everyone here knows that. Some think that diversity is good.
There's an incredible opportunity for all of us to learn from each other.
For others, it's just something to get used to.
It's wearing on me. I don't know.
Kadar
I'm here to retire.
says he's not leaving anytime soon.
Maybe my kid will become a mayor here one day in this town.
The same dreams everyone has for their family. Ones that could forever change the landscape and the fiber of Fort Morgan.